unexpectedly walked in on me while I was having a private moment. To be honest, I didn't really mind it, and I think he felt the same way. It all started on a quiet Tuesday evening. The house was unusually peaceful since our parents had gone out for the night, leaving just Adam and me at home. When we were younger, Adam loved to playfully annoy me in the most creative ways. But now we had settled into a better relationship. I had just returned home for fall break after being away at college for months. As soon as I stepped through the front door, a flood of memories overwhelmed me. My old room was still mostly the same, although the posters on the walls were faded, and my desk was cluttered with things my parents had saved over the years. It felt like stepping back into my childhood. Seeing Adam after some time made me realize how much he had changed. When he came into the kitchen to greet me, he was no longer the small, awkward kid I once knew. He had grown taller and seemed more confident, like a different person, a stranger who was also familiar. "What's up?" he asked when he caught me staring. "Nothing," I replied, shaking my head. "You just look different." He smiled and scratched the back of his neck, saying, "It's called growing up, Jennifer. You should try it sometime." I rolled my eyes but couldn't help smiling back. He had a unique way of making everything feel lighthearted, even if there was something deeper beneath the surface. After dinner and hours of catching up, I headed to my room, feeling exhausted from the long day of travel and the emotional weight of returning home. All I wanted was a hot shower and some good sleep. My old bed creaked as I sank into it. The mattress felt just as it always had. The house was quiet, except for the soft sounds of Adam moving around in his room down the hall. I closed my eyes, letting the familiar comfort of home wash over me. But sleep didn't come. My mind started wandering. It had been ages since I'd felt close to anyone. Life at college had been busy, leaving little room for social interactions. Lying there in the dark, I felt the loneliness sneak up on me. I shifted under the covers, feeling restless, and before I knew it, my thoughts turned towards Adam, causing me to pause. I remembered seeing Adam in the kitchen earlier that night. His shirt fit snugly around his chest, and he had that easy smile that made me feel warm inside, especially when he hugged me. At the time, I brushed those feelings off, thinking they were nothing. But now, in the quiet of my room, those thoughts returned, clearer and more intense. What was happening to me? This was my little brother, Adam. I shouldn't be having these kinds of thoughts about him. Yet, the more I tried to push them away, the stronger they became. My heart raced as I recalled the way he looked at me, mischief sparkling in his eyes whenever I teased him. I could almost hear him whispering my name in a playful, low voice. He had changed more than just physically. He had developed a presence that was hard to ignore. The more I thought about him, the warmer I felt. I found my fingers slowly creeping under the blanket as I let myself indulge in these thoughts, closing my eyes and allowing my imagination to take the lead. For the first time in ages, I felt truly alive. But then, just when I was deeply lost in my own world, the door to my room swung open. Jennifer's voice cut through the stillness, and my heart stopped. There stood Adam in the doorway, his hand still on the doorknob, wide-eyed as he took in the scene. My face went hot with embarrassment as I realized how exposed I was, with my hand still under the covers and my breathing unsteady. I quickly sat up, wrapping the blanket around myself like it could shield me from what he had just seen. "What the heck, Adam? Ever heard of knocking?" I shouted. my voice louder than I meant it to be. "I didn't know," he stammered, turning red and awkwardly scratching the back of his neck. "I just wanted to see if you wanted to watch a movie or something." "Clearly I'm busy," I retorted, my voice trembling with embarrassment. "It's 11 p.m. Adam glanced around, mumbling something to himself while staring at my bedspread. His voice held a mix of surprise and amusement. For a brief moment, our eyes met before he quickly looked away. "Okay, I'll leave you to it," he said, turning to go. But before he could close the door, I found myself calling out, "Wait." I wasn't sure why I did that. Maybe it was the awkward tension or panic in the air, but the words slipped out before I could catch them. Adam hesitated, hand still on the doorknob, and met my gaze again with an unreadable expression. His cheeks were still flushed. I paused, scrambling to think of something to say, trying to mend this awkward moment. But in truth, I didn't want him to leave just yet. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to yell," I said, hoping to ease the mood. He nodded slightly, his eyes meeting mine briefly, before darting away again. "It's okay," he replied softly. "I should have knocked." We stood there in silence, the tension between us almost palpable. My heart was racing, and I could feel it pounding in my ears. My face was still warm from embarrassment, but there was something else stirring inside me that I couldn't quite identify. "Do you want to come inside?" I asked, the words spilling out before I had a chance to think them through. Adam looked surprised, raising his eyebrows in disbelief. "Seriously?" he replied. I quickly assured him, "Yes, I mean you're already here." After a brief pause, he stepped inside and shut the door behind him. Leaning against the wall with his arms crossed, he appeared both curious and cautious. "So, what were you doing in here?" he asked after a moment. I groaned and pulled the blanket over my head, feeling my face heat up even more. "Oh my gosh, can we not talk about it?" Adam chuckled softly, his voice warm, which for some reason made my heart race even more. "Jennifer, I'm just teasing you." Peeking out from behind the blanket, I shot him an annoyed look. "You're such a jerk," I said, though his playful grin made my heart skip a beat. "Yes, but you love me anyway," he replied with a cheeky smile. I didn't respond, but he had a point. With Adam in the room, the atmosphere felt different, almost suffocating. He remained relaxed, arms crossed and smiling playfully, making it hard for me to catch my breath. I couldn't tell if he was genuinely amused or trying to make the situation less awkward, but it wasn't helping. The embarrassment of being caught was still overwhelming, and I couldn't hold his gaze for more than a moment before I felt the urge to hide again. "Jennifer," Adam said, his tone softer now, "it's not like I haven't seen worse things." I gave him a skeptical look, trying to regain some control. "What's the worst thing you've seen?" I asked, half joking. His smirk widened as he replied, "Oh, I'm not sure, but I've walked in on Dad, trimming his nose hairs while shirtless, and trust me, that was traumatizing." I couldn't help but let out a small laugh. It wasn't a loud one, more of a surprised chuckle, but it eased some of the tension. Adam seemed pleased with himself, and for a brief moment, it felt like we were just two siblings hanging out, free of awkwardness or hidden feelings. However, that sense of ease was short-lived. The silence that followed felt heavy, and I could sense him studying me closely. His gaze made my skin tingling, as if he could see beyond my embarrassment and into the thoughts I was desperately trying to push away. I wrapped myself in the blanket, hoping it would shield me from the tension between us. Adam casually asked, "Who are you thinking about?" I was taken aback, my face heating up. "No one. What kind of question is that?" He just shrugged, looking annoyingly calm. "Maybe you should think about it." I threw a pillow at him, but he caught it with ease, laughing. "Can you please stop?" He raised his hands in a mock surrender. "I am just joking, Jennifer. No need to panic." Despite my protest, I knew something was stirring inside me. The atmosphere grew heavier as we exchanged glances, and I realized he was more mature and confident now. I couldn't help but stare, lost in thought, until he suddenly asked, "Why are you looking at me like that?" I stammered, trying to deny it. He pressed closer, and I felt my heart race. "You're acting strange. What's wrong?" I wanted to share my feelings, but the words just wouldn't come. I glanced away, my eyes fixed on the blanket gathered in my lap, wishing he would just let it go. But he stayed right where he was, his presence impossible to ignore. "Jennifer," he said again, this time speaking softly, "you can share something with me." His voice broke through the wall I had tried to build around myself. It wasn't mocking or judgmental. Rather, it was genuinely caring, which only made it harder for me to keep my feelings hidden. "I'm not sure what's going on with me," I finally admitted, barely whispering. "I've been thinking about you in ways I shouldn't." As soon as the words left my mouth, I felt a knot in my stomach. It was shocking to have said it out loud, and I braced myself for his reaction, expecting him to pull back, laugh it off, or even get angry. Instead, he stayed right where he was, his expression unreadable. "What are you thinking about?" he asked quietly, clearly unshocked by my admission. I hesitated, feeling tightness in my throat as I tried to find the words. My gaze remained fixed on the blanket, trying to avoid his piercing look. I don't know why I feel this way. It just happened. He was silent for a long moment, and I felt my chest tighten with anxiety. But then, to my surprise, he gently placed his hand on my arm. The touch was light and almost hesitant, but sent a surge of warmth through me. "It's okay, Jennifer," he said softly, his voice steady. I looked up at him, my heart racing. "Is it really?" I asked, searching his eyes for reassurance. He nodded, his hand still on my arm, and the weight of his words felt heavy, yet comforting. "Yeah, it's okay," Adam said, calm and sure, but doubt lingered in my mind. Did he truly mean it, or was he just trying to ease the awkwardness? His steady gaze gave me hope that he was sincere. For a long moment, we both sat in silence, a thick tension hanging in the air, but it wasn't uncomfortable. It felt like we were waiting for the other person to say something next. "Adam," I finally said, my voice shaky, "I really don't know what's wrong with me." He tilted his head slightly, his eyes locked on mine. "Why do you think there's something wrong?" I blurted out. "This isn't normal. You're my little brother, my family. I shouldn't..." He cut me off gently but firmly. "Don't say that. Don't make it sound like you're broken or anything. You're not." I blinked, taken aback by his words. But then he interrupted me again, making sure I knew he understood. "Listen, Jennifer. You're not some sort of weirdo. What you're feeling is valid, and that's perfectly okay." "Is it really okay?" I asked quietly, because honestly, it didn't feel okay to me. "It feels wrong, doesn't it?" He challenged, narrowing his gaze a bit. "From where I'm sitting, it seems like you're punishing yourself for something beyond your control. And frankly, I don't think you should feel that way." I stared at him, my heart racing. The intensity of his gaze and the way he spoke suggested he was concerned about me, but it felt deeper than comfort. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but it caused a strange ache in my chest. "Why are you so stressed about this?" I asked, my voice shaky. "You should be the one who's worried." He shrugged slightly, a small smile playing on his lips. "Maybe I'm just better at staying calm than you are, Adam." Then he interrupted me again, saying, "Do you trust me?" I was taken aback by his question. "Of course I trust you." "Then trust me when I say, this doesn't have to be a huge issue," he said gently. "It's just between us. No one else needs to know and nobody else needs to understand. It's just you and me." Hearing him say that sent a chill down my spine, and I felt my chest tighten. His calm and confident tone made everything seem so straightforward, yet I knew it wasn't. It was messy and complicated and a bit scary, but the way he looked at me and the warmth of his hand on my shoulder made me wonder if maybe it didn't have to be so hard. "Adam," I whispered, struggling to find my words. "What are you trying to say?" "I'm saying I don't care if it's considered normal or not," he replied, his voice steady. "I care about you. If this is something you're feeling, then I might be feeling it too." My breath hitched in my throat as I stared at him, my mind racing. Did he actually mean that? Was he really saying what I thought he was? I was at a loss for how to respond or what to do. All I could feel was my heart pounding in my chest, drowning out everything else. Before I knew it, my hand reached out to graze his. He didn't pull back. Instead, his fingers intertwined with mine, warm and reassuring. That simple touch sent a wave of relief through me, along with something deeper that I struggled to define. "I don't know what to do," I admitted, my voice trembling. "I don't even know what this really is." "Me neither," he replied softly. "But maybe we don't have to figure it all out right now. Maybe we can just explore it together." His words struck a chord deep within me, and I felt tears welling up in my eyes. I wasn't sure why I felt so moved by what he said, but I did. Slowly, I nodded, squeezing his hand for a moment. For a while, we just sat there, our hands clasped together, surrounded by an unspoken connection. It felt as though the entire world had disappeared, leaving just the two of us in a moment that felt both impossible and inevitable. And then, before I could start to overthink everything again, as our lips met, the kiss was soft and a bit hesitant, like we were both trying to gauge how we felt. His lips were warm, and I could feel a slight tremor in his hand as he held mine. It wasn't a flawless kiss. There was a certain clumsiness and nervousness that came from not knowing what this moment truly meant. But it felt genuine, and it was a connection between us. When we pulled apart, our eyes locked, and I could see a mixture of emotions reflected back at me: fear, hope, and a sense of relief. Neither of us said anything, but in that silence, we understood each other perfectly. Adam gave me a small smile, still holding on to my hand, and I started to feel that it wasn't as frightening as I had thought. I let out a soft laugh, shaky but real, and said, "Speak for yourself." He grinned, and for the first time that evening, a feeling crept in that maybe, just maybe, everything would turn out okay. The room around us felt charged, as if the energy had shifted in some permanent way after that kiss. My heart raced, and my mind struggled to process what had just happened. Adam stayed quiet, his eyes fixed on me, and for the first time in ages, I couldn't decipher what he was thinking. He wasn't joking around or trying to lighten the mood. He was simply there, present in a way that tugged at my heart. "Did that feel wrong to you?" he asked gently, breaking the silence. I shook my head, my voice momentarily caught in my throat. "No, it didn't." "Good," he replied, a small smile forming on his lips. "It didn't feel wrong to me either." A shaky breath escaped me, the weight of his words sinking in. I had spent so long convincing myself that these feelings weren't normal, that they were something to hide from. Hearing him validate my emotions made everything feel a little less scary. "What happens now?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. Adam shrugged, his smile fading into a softer, more vulnerable expression. "I don't know, I've never been in this situation before, Jennifer, but I think we should just take it one step at a time and see where it leads us." His simple words held a lot of meaning, and I nodded slowly, keeping my fingers entwined with his. The silence that enveloped us this time felt different. It was comforting, as though we were finally letting go of all the unspoken tension that had built up for so long. For the first time, I felt like I could truly breathe. "Would you like to talk about what's been going on?" Adam asked after a moment, his tone gentle. "I mean, the way you've been acting lately." He smiled faintly. "Let's be honest, Jennifer, it's been kind of strange." I groaned and pulled my hand away to cover my face. "Oh no," I admitted as my voice came out muffled. "Everything about you feels different now, and it's really messing with my head." "Different how?" he asked, leaning in a bit closer. I felt nervous, my face turning red. "You're not the same annoying kid I grew up with anymore," I finally said, noticing how confident and grown-up Adam seemed. I wasn't sure how to react to this change. Adam's smile grew wider, and a playful glint sparkled in his eyes. "Are you saying you think I'm attractive?" he teased. "Oh my God, just stop," I exclaimed, tossing a pillow at him. He caught it easily, and his laughter made my heart race, mixing comfort with irritation. Leaning closer, he kissed me again for a brief moment. "I'm just stating facts," he joked, while tossing the pillow back onto the bed. "You could have said that without all the drama." "Well, I'm not exactly happy about it," I replied, though I couldn't help but smile a little. It felt like we were joking around while still teasing each other. Adam's laughter faded, replaced by a gentler look. "You don't have to be embarrassed, Jennifer," he said softly. "It's just us. No one else needs to know." His calm voice made my chest ache, and I nodded, my throat tight. "Yes," I whispered, "just us." As he lay next to me, it felt like we were on the verge of something new. I could sense both excitement and uncertainty, and I had never experienced anything like it before. Feeling bold, I asked Adam to push the limits even more, and he did. I won't go into detail, but it turned out to be one of the wildest nights I've ever had. When it was over and we lay together, we both understood the significance of what had just happened. Part of me felt guilty, but another part felt incredible. Though the night felt like a blur, I could tell that things had changed between us. The tension was still there, but it felt lighter, as if we had taken the first step into a new chapter of our relationship. Adam stayed in my room for a while, sitting on the edge of the bed as we talked about everything and nothing at all. It reminded me of our childhood, when we used to whisper secrets late at night. However, this time, there was a deeper connection beneath the surface that neither of us fully grasped. When he eventually left for his own room, I felt both relief and an unexpected emptiness. I lay back on my bed, staring at the ceiling, my mind racing with thoughts of him. I remembered the way he kissed me, the warmth of his hand in mine, and how he looked at me as if I were everything to him. It was all so intense, and I couldn't shake the feeling as I'm case find and said the rain. But then I remembered they were away for the weekend. It was just me and Adam at home. I got out of bed and made my way downstairs, my heart racing at the thought of seeing him again. I wasn't quite sure what I expected, maybe some awkwardness or tension in the air. But when I entered the kitchen, I found him seated at the table, eating a bowl of cereal. He seemed perfectly at ease, almost too relaxed. "Morning," he said, offering me a cheerful smile. "Did you sleep well?" Yeah, I replied as I grabbed a mug and poured myself some coffee. He teased me, saying I looked like a baby. I noticed his gaze linger on me just a bit too long, and his smile softened, which made my heart race all over again. We shared breakfast in mostly quiet, with only the sound of spoons clinking against bowls breaking the silence. Yet I could sense his eyes on me, making it hard to concentrate on anything else. My thoughts kept racing back to what had happened the previous night. The kiss and his words, "Just us, Jennifer." Suddenly, Adam spoke up, shattering the stillness. "Are you okay?" I looked up, feeling my heart skip a beat at the seriousness of his question. "Yeah," I replied hastily, even though my voice shook. Why wouldn't I be? He tilted his head, scrutinizing me closely. "Because last night was a lot. I just want to make sure you're not freaking out." "I'm fine," I insisted, though my cheeks were hot with embarrassment. He wasn't fully convinced, but he nodded slowly. "If you say so." The rest of the day unfolded smoothly, but the tension lingered between us, bubbling just below the surface. Each glance and accidental brush of our hands felt charged, as if we were waiting for something big to happen. I didn't know what that something was, but I could sense it was looming, and I wasn't ready for it. As the hours passed, the atmosphere thickened with unspoken feelings. I could feel it every time Adam looked my way or spoke to me. Even when we sat quietly in the same room, it felt like a storm was brewing, and I knew it was only a matter of time before it erupted. That evening, the house was quiet again. Our parents had called to let us know they would be spending another night at Grandma's, leaving just Adam and me alone once more. After dinner, he headed up to his room, while I settled onto the couch with the TV on softly in the background. I tried to focus on the show, but my thoughts drifted back to the previous night, the way he kissed me and the way he looked at me afterward, as if I were more than just his sister, but something greater. I was so lost in my thoughts that I didn't notice him coming back downstairs until he sat down beside me. I jumped a bit when I saw him there. His arrival was a surprise. "Sorry," he said, a small smile forming on his lips. "I didn't mean to scare you." "It's fine," I replied quickly, even though my heart was pounding. We sat in silence for a while, the TV casting a soft light in the room. Adam didn't say anything, and neither did I, but the air was thick with tension. I could sense him watching me from the side, which made me feel a bit tingly. "Jennifer," he said suddenly, breaking the quiet, "can we talk?" I turned to look at him, feeling my chest tighten at how serious he sounded. "About us?" he asked, his eyes on the memories from the night before. My stomach flipped at his words. I wasn't sure I was ready for this conversation, but I nodded anyway. Okay. He paused and ran his fingers through his hair. I've been thinking about what happened all day, he said, about what it means. What do you mean? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He hesitated, his cheeks turning slightly pink. I don't want to pretend it never happened. His words shocked me, and my heart raced as I looked at him. You don't? I questioned. He shook his head, his gaze locking with mine. No, Jennifer. It felt right, not wrong. The way he said it made my heart ache. I wanted to respond, but words failed me. All I knew was that he was looking at me like I was the most important thing in the world, and it nearly made me cry. I'm scared, I finally admitted, my voice quivering. This is all so new to me, and I don't know what to do. He spoke gently. You don't have to figure it all out right now. We can work through this together. He reached for my hand, and the simple touch sent a shiver down my spine. I glanced at our hands, then back up at him. My throat tightened as I asked, Are you sure about this? My voice was barely a whisper. I've never been more sure of anything, he replied firmly. I care about you, Jennifer, more than I probably should, and I'm done ignoring it. His words washed over me like a wave, and before I knew it, I leaned closer, closing the gap between us. The kiss was soft at first, uncertain, but it quickly deepened, unleashing all the emotions I had been holding back. His hands moved to my shoulders, drawing me nearer, and my heart swelled with feelings I couldn't quite name. When we finally pulled apart, we lay side by side on the couch, the TV still softly playing in the background. I realized something important. What we had might not be normal, and not everyone would understand it. But it was ours, and for now, that was enough. I know this may sound odd to some, but I'm glad to share my story. I feel terrible about what transpired. Should I open up about my thoughts in the comments?